Good morning. Mark from Homans Associates here. We're on to our second week of webcasts, and the team at Housecall Pro has got some great episodes coming up. I'm going to introduce Housecall Pro's latest webcast from last night, Monday, April 21st. Monday's webcast is titled, So You Got the Funding, Now What? After the daily news update, the team at Housecall Pro will be talking about having a plan ready to go when you get your PPP and or EIDL money. You'll hear from other contractors about their experience with the funding process and their plans on how to use it. For those of you who didn't get in on that first round of funding, the SBA program is being discussed in Washington, and the possibility exists for them to refund that program. So should that happen, you want to be ready with a plan. Also, Brooks Pettis, the COO of Housecall Pro, is going to share his thoughts about a 90-day plan. As we're starting to see some light at the end of the tunnel, you do want to have a plan in place ready to go. As always, check out the Homans Associates YouTube channel. Just type Homans Associates into the search bar on YouTube and subscribe to our channel. We'll post all these webcasts there so you can check them out at your convenience. And then, of course, every day we blast them out on social media. That's Facebook, LinkedIn, and Twitter. Just type in Homans Associates into any one of those social media channels, and you can subscribe there as well. And of course, we put them on our website, homans.com/resources. So check that out as well. On a final note, Housecall Pro is going to have a very special guest this week. Tomorrow, Mark Cuban is going to be on the webcast, so you don't want to miss that. We'll see you tomorrow. Now on to the webcast.
Welcome to the 6th week now of the evening update for home service businesses. I'm Alexa. I'm your head of online community here at Housecall Pro, and I'm joined by my two co-hosts, Roland, who's the co-founder of Housecall Pro, and Mel, who is our awesome senior vice president of people. We also have Brooks here, who is like semi-co-host. He's on like every week. He'll be on the next 2 weeks, a bunch more. So you can think of them as your in-house business and people strategy experts. So each evening at 5 p.m. Pacific time, Monday through Thursday, we share the state of the world according to the home service industry, and we focus on one main topic or have some special guests. So tonight's topic, as I kind of talked about in the beginning of this, is last week we were all about there is still hope to get your money. And we actually interviewed some pros who had received it to talk about their application and approval process. So we've been noticing throughout the past week that more of you have received your money and that it's on the way. So what now? That's why we have Brooks and Roland on here to talk with you and our three guests about putting a 90-day plan in place and putting that money to good use. And tomorrow, we are so excited. We have Mark Cuban coming on. Yes, you heard that right. The evening broadcast is having Mark Cuban on. He's an entrepreneur, investor, and owner of the Dallas Mavericks, and he's one of the main sharks on Shark Tank. So more on that at the end of this show to give you guys details, but that's what you have to look forward to tomorrow. For now, I'm going to pass it over to Mel, and we'll be back in a little bit.
Great. Thank you so much. And good evening, everyone. Lots of familiar faces and names and some new ones as well. So thank you for joining. I'm Melina Fairley, Senior Vice President of People at Housecall Pro. Please feel free to call me Mel. We come to you live Monday through Thursday to give you a daily recap of what's going on in the news related to coronavirus, so that hopefully you can spend your day paying attention to your business, your family, and other things. You know, you'll get a quick update here every night. We also bring you information and guests, a little bit of advice, and a sense of community during these times. So I am not a reporter or an infectious disease expert. Rather, I'm a mom of 4, I'm a homeowner, I'm a human resources professional with over 20 years of experience, and this is just part of our public service to you. So with that said, here is your update for Monday, April 20th, 2020. The Johns Hopkins dashboard is reporting close to 2.5 million global cases at this point and almost 170,000 deaths. There we go. There's our map. This is a live map. Yeah, live map. You can click into it and check out your part of the country or part of the world that you're interested in. We heard today from the World Health Organization that the European region reached 100,000 total deaths, and Europe accounts for about half of the total global cases, but 2/3 of the reported deaths. So that information is from the roll-ups of this information. And here in the US, you can see that we're over 780,000 cases and coming up on 42,000 deaths as of now. New York State reportedly has had a decline in daily cases for 4 consecutive days. So that's certainly good news for New York. And we'll hope to see that news continue. Globally, we're seeing a lot of countries that had experienced countries ahead of us start to loosen some of their restrictions. So Germany has reportedly begun reopening businesses after about a month of lockdown. So schools and businesses like hair salons are scheduled to open on May 4th. And in China, we're also seeing easing of physical distancing requirements, and the government there is calling for more rigorous testing. So this is the other thing that we're hearing, is that as things start to open, more testing has been the call to help prevent a resurgence of cases from either travelers or local transmission. So depending on how those efforts play out across Germany, China, other countries that are starting to lessen the social distancing required, these could provide really key lessons for the US, for Canada, for other countries that are anticipating similar efforts in the coming weeks and months. Last week, we heard President Donald Trump unveil the US federal government's plan to relax social distancing over time. And this also created quite the Twitter storm and all sorts of protests over the weekend. I know we had one here in San Diego. So groups of protesters gathering over the weekend in opposition to lockdowns, calling for governors to lift stay-at-home orders. Today, the Georgia governor, Brian Kemp, did announce that certain businesses in the state would be able to reopen this week in a small step forward. So specifically fitness centers, bowling alleys, body art studios, barbers, hair and nail salons, and massage therapy businesses in Georgia can reopen as early as this Friday, the 24th. Theaters and restaurants will be allowed to open on Monday, the 27th, and bars and nightclubs will remain closed for now. So this move comes alongside some similar announcements from the governors of South Carolina and Tennessee. We did hear earlier today from the president at the daily White House coronavirus briefing that Americans still need to consider practicing social distancing in all instances where possible. So that still is the call from the president. Dr. Fauci has expressed that he definitely agrees that relaxing physical distancing could backfire and increase transmission, which could then further delay the economic recovery that all of us are hoping for so strongly. So on to economic news. In business news, I know you all are waiting, we're waiting to hear about Congress making some progress on the next round of small business coronavirus relief. So they're looking at an interim bill to provide more money to the SBA payroll Paycheck Protection Program. They're looking at over $300 billion for that. It also looks like this round could include some hospital funding. $75 billion was the latest number I read, and testing funding, another $25 billion there. And then we've talked about the EIDL, the Economic Injury Disaster Relief Loan, so another $60 billion potentially to be allocated there. So we're still waiting to hear. We'll keep you posted. I know many of you are in some stage of application, so we'll give you all the information you need every night. So speaking of the payroll protection program, many of us read over the weekend about some of the bigger companies that received some PPP money. I know I saw it in our Facebook groups, people not so happy about seeing some of the bigger chains. So last night we heard from Shake Shack that they are giving back the $10 million that they received from the Paycheck Protection Program. So in a statement on LinkedIn, the CEO of its parent company and its current CEO said they had no idea that the fund would dry up so quickly, and that they were able to secure separate funding. And so they decided to immediately return the entire $10 million so that restaurants that need it most can get access to those funds. So that was a development as of last night.
Yeah, and there are a couple others, obviously too. Ruth Chris Steakhouse, Potbelly, J. Alexander, Jura Sushi, Taco Cabana. There are several of these larger companies, many with cash in reserves. Notably, Ruth Chris had $86 million in the bank. And still.
And they double dipped, didn't they? Didn't they go back to two $10 million fundings?
Yep. So it was limited to 10, and they were able to get 20. So obviously, there's a lot of anger kind of in that direction, and obviously, Shake Shack did the noble thing of saying like, hey, even though we could have benefited from this as well, we see small business around us failing and needing this more, so they returned it. So now there's a lot of pressure on the CEOs of all these other companies that actually had a lot of cash and reserves just sitting around big chain stores to either return that money. Obviously, there's still EIDL and PPP out there that, although they say is run out, is still in the process of funding. So there's still people, and we see it still today, getting money from those institutions into their bank account. So that plus the upcoming stimulus here, second version, second wave, there's going to be some more help coming. But it makes it even more important that we got our plans in place, and that's what we're going to be talking about tonight.
Absolutely. Everybody should be creating a plan as if they're going to get this money, because they're certainly going to pass another version of the stimulus. And those who are prepared and have those applications ready and then are ready to put that money to good use, you guys are going to be the ones that this is intended for. And so we want to see you win and go ahead and make some really smart decisions to get together.
We actually already had a first question on this. Mel, do you know the answer if pros are still able to apply for a PPP loan at this time?
Yeah, they will still be able to once this is refunded. The system doesn't take a queue, so the system, or a line, so the system cut off the banks from actually hitting submit on those applications. But the banks are still getting information from their applicants, and everybody's anticipating that this is going to start flowing through. But as Roland mentioned earlier, if you've already submitted and your bank told you that you submitted, we have seen things funded today. So money is continuing to flow. New applications can't yet hit that final stage, but you should be ready to do that with your bank.
Even Sarah, one of our guests, she's in that phase now where her bank told her that she was approved, and she's expecting it at the end of this week. So she's going to speak a bit on that. And I think now is a really good time to bring them back on. So Sarah, Brandon, Garrett, can you please unmute yourselves and turn on your video? Cool.
Hello.
Garrett. Brandon, Sarah, awesome. That was a full house. I think this is the most people we've had on here at one time. So I'm just going to quickly introduce our guests, and then I'm going to pass it off to Brooks and Roland to take you through our topic tonight and interview our three guests. So we have Sarah here. She's the owner of Golden Rule Cleaning and More. She has 10 employees, and she's based out of Illinois. Sarah's the one I was talking about who has not yet received her funding quite yet, but has good news that she will by the end of this week. And she already has a plan in place for what to do with it when she does receive it. And we have Brandon here, owner of Metcalf Mechanical. He has 5 employees based out of Indiana. He's actually a pro leader. They're experiencing rapid growth right now, and he has received EIDL funding and has a virtual interview lined up tomorrow to bring on another tech. So that will be interesting to learn more about. And then, of course, we have Garrett here, owner of Thompson Plumbing, Heating, and AC. So he has 7 employees, and they're based out of San Diego, where we are. And Garrett and his wife were funded the full amount last week for the EIDL, and I think are feeling at ease. So they're going to be sharing that with you. So Mel and I will be back at the end of this to answer any questions. If you're on Facebook, just add any questions into the ongoing Facebook thread, and I'll pull them from there. And if you are on Zoom, make sure you're using the Q&A box to ask any questions, upvote them, and Mel will either be responding to them during this time, or we'll go over them at the end. All right? Talk to you guys soon.
Perfect.
Thanks, Alexa. Thanks, Mel. Roland, ready?
All right. Yeah, we're ready. So obviously, for those of you that haven't heard, there's two main vehicles here of ways to get money flowing into your business that the government's outlined. One being the PPP, and then one being the EIDL, which we've covered a lot on here. But just the basics are: one is pretty much used in most part for paying the payroll of the company. Hopefully, if you do more than 75%, that entire money essentially will become forgivable. So this is essentially free money from the government as long as you're using it to keep people employed. Now, the caveat, and I've been asked this actually probably 3 times offline, do I have to use it for those employees, or can I switch out the employees and just bring in some new people in the business and maybe move some out of the business? The answer is yes. As long as you're spending that money on keeping people employed at the state which you were, that's the spirit of it. So that's the PPP. And the EIDL was the one that we first came on. Brooks came on and it's like, you guys should all go apply today. And literally there was at first a long form version when we first covered it. Then there was a short form version, which really probably takes about 5 minutes, that lets you get the EIDL loan. And they would advance up to 10K. I feel like last week it came out that it's roughly 1K per employee. That wasn't in the original one that we had shared, but that is now what they're kind of basing that on, as in terms of the forgivable side of that. But obviously there are still loans. There's still money in the EIDL. There's some extra provisions where you need to put up some collateral, those things, that you can get bigger loan amounts. But we have the guests on here today to kind of talk about what the experience is like, how they did it, how they thought about when they went to go do it. Because hopefully for those of you that haven't applied yet, you can learn something from here and then take what Brooks is going to cover about is a 90-day playbook and put those funds to the best use possible. So you should not squander it. You should not sit on it forever and just think it's a pot of gold, like, you know, put it to work. That's what it's meant for. And we're going to kind of go through how to do that.
Awesome. Garrett, Sarah, and Brandon, good to see you all. Let me do a quick overview and then I'll invite you guys for some questions, and I'll go a little bit back and forth here with you guys. So, you know, we've been advocating since the beginning of this whole cycle that there's going to be an initial response. We're all going to feel this sort of immediate panic, like, my good God, the world just changed so radically around us, and here we are. And at that point, you hit a fork in the road. You can choose to keep investing in that emotion of panic, and if you do that, you're going to freeze, you're going to get stuck, and you're going to get picked off. Your business, the odds of your being around in 3 months, let alone in a year, go down dramatically if you're stuck and invested in that emotion of fear. The other fork in the road is start to invest in action. Start moving your way towards the fight. And what we'd argue for today is that you got to have a plan, right? Like, you can choose to set yourself up not only to survive, you can choose to set yourself up to actually succeed and thrive in the future, but you have to take action. And you know, Roland and I are big advocates. So we think about our teams and we think about our big sales teams and elsewhere, is that, look, control what you can control. You can't control everything, right? You can't really control what the government is going to do at the federal level. You can't really control what your state is going to do, but you can control what you're going to do about your business each and every day to get yourself on the path towards success, both now and for the long term. So taking action, any action and moving forward is a big start. Just get off the mark, get moving forward, start investing in your future. So we talk about things like critic culture. Like, what is the culture, your mindset that you want to have? Because you're the CEO of your company. I don't care if it's a 1-person shop, a 10-person shop like Sarah has, or you're running 50 people, you are the CEO of your business. So what is the culture in this crazy, hard to believe environment that you want to create for your company, for your people? And so your culture should be one of, look, I want to get super lean. I want to cut down all my expenses. I want to figure out what I have to have and what is nice to have. And I want to go bare bones I can, cut down unnecessary expenses, so I've got good dry powder to be able to use in that fight. And I also want to go look at, how can I get cash on my books? What can I do to shore up my balance sheet, right? To give myself a bunch of, I guess, dry powder to go fight the fight today, tomorrow, and well down the road. So I want to save costs where I can, be really smart on that front, and I want to get some cash on my balance sheet. So my culture is not only survive, but I want to thrive. To do that, I got to make sure my costs are low. I can keep revenue coming in towards the door, and I've got cash there for reserves when I need it. So if you do those simple 2 tasks, do an audit of all of your costs, figure out how to get money in your balance sheet. And Roland just talked about these programs, EIDL, get that up to 10K grant, PPP program, get money that you can go pay people to work for you and get some expenses covered off. You got 2 free months of operating capital. That means any revenue you bring in, you could salt that money away. It gives you everything more you're going to need for the months to come. Because the chances are it's not going to come bouncing back very quickly. It will certainly come bouncing back as an economy over the months and the quarters to come. Okay, what's the third thing I can really think about? Is, what are you as a leader of your business to do to invest in you? What are you doing to feed your mind? I listened to this great podcast of Tony Robbins this weekend, and he had some of his experts in there, but really what his message was is, look, you are the leader of your team. Everyone's looking for direction. What are you doing to invest in your own growth? What are you reading? What are you listening to in a podcast? You should set aside time every day. I don't care if it's half an hour. Express gratefulness and gratitude, and focus on investing in your growth and development so that you can be the leader that your family needs, that your company needs, and your community and your country need, in that order. So keep investing in yourselves in a growth mindset and keep moving yourself toward the fight. You'll be in great shape. So we can talk about some three more things that are much more detailed in the 90-day playbook. And I think Alexa said we'd have that for you all by the end of the week. But today, what we'd like to hear is from our experts and from our pros is that, look, you made it this far. What are you doing about it now? What's your plan with either the money you've already gotten in your account or the money you're about to get in your account? What are you going to do with that to start moving your business forward? So, Sarah, I'd love to ask you the first question because I was so impressed last week in the Midwest meetup. And here you are in the home cleaning space, which has not been the easiest space to get by in this time. I mean, HVAC, plumbing, those guys are emergency services, air's out and the plumbing's backed up. You have to have these people come fix the stuff in your home. Home cleaning is kind of hit or miss. Kind of need it. We'll use it if I have to, or have some specific application. So it's a tough space. And yet you were unbelievably positive and optimistic. You had a plan for what you want to do in a marketing. You had a measure mindset. So tell us a little bit about what your view is of the world and what do you think about in the next 1, 2, 3 months?
Well, first of all, let me tell you, I had a baby 6 weeks ago. So I went from having a baby to like a week later being on lockdown and like damage control for my business. So it was very traumatic because I thought I'd have 6 weeks off and my baby's at 6 weeks now. And so we're going on week 6, May 1st. So my baby's still very little, but I had to get back to work immediately. So our first step was communication. We communicated very well with our staff and with our clients to let them know we were open and we were essential and we're here to serve them. And then our second communication was how were we going to serve them? What's going to be different with the coronavirus? And then we moved into, okay, we have to get the word out. And so we made a marketing plan that was very aggressive compared to any other month that we've ever done marketing. But marketing is like rock bottom prices right now. So our 90-day plan is that we're staying with our marketing now. Where, hey, we're here, we're essential, this is what we're doing. To May 1st, when we open back up, we hope we're opening back up. We'll be changing our message to, hey, we're a public, this now cleaning's it's not a luxury anymore. It is a public safety issue. So now we need to get our businesses on a plan for disinfecting. We need to get our houses on a plan for disinfecting. So we're kind of switching our message come May 1st, and we'll be following along with that throughout the non-quarantine because I mean, businesses will be reopened and they're going to need somebody to help them. We have been very lucky that we have actually increased our revenue during this time. We're more worried about when we reopen all of our clients returning since we have so many new clients on the books.
That's amazing. So what I hear there is that you looked at your business, you looked at what's going on around you, and you realized the message you had 90 days ago was not going to work, right? The world has changed.
It was not.
Yeah, so you've evolved your message twice since then, is that right?
We plan to change our marketing come May 1st to reflect what we're going to be doing while people are off of quarantine, where we have been offering free services as of this time, adding the hospital grade disinfecting, the fogging, all that stuff that cleaning companies are doing. It wasn't easy because let's just say cleaning companies were not nice to cleaning companies still open. Okay. We got a lot of, because cleaning companies don't, we got a lot of flack from it, but we felt like if we stayed open, we stayed relevant. If we closed, we may not reopen. So that was kind of our thinking on why we did what we did. And all of our staff, they've not missed a beat. The paychecks are the same. We will be getting our payroll protection loan, our program is funded by Friday. So we plan to take the money that our revenue is receiving, and then we plan to put it back in marketing. So we can build the business and not lose a beat while we all are, some people are home apprehensive, not hiring us, and others are like, no, I have to have you. We need you to come in and clean our house. We can't do it ourselves. So some people's minds are one way and then other people's minds are another way. So we're just changing our marketing message as we go. We got TV commercials, $10 a spot, guys. I mean, it's ridiculously cheap right now. Postcards, I mean, we saved $600 on 20,000 postcards, free design. I mean, people are like offering such great prices in marketing now that It's just, you have to get the message out there. They have to know that you're open. They have to know that you're essential. They have to know what you're doing to protect them going into their home. And they have to know what kind of chemicals you're using and what are you following CDC's protocols. And that's the biggest thing. And that's what we're focusing our marketing on.
Yeah.
So you think your marketing is on, oh, sorry, go ahead, Roland.
Yeah, because someone was asking you where you concentrating your advertising, but what it sounds like is there's you've identified some opportunistic channels now that normally maybe you wouldn't either consider, or because they're so cheap now you're actually doubling down. So how are you like thinking about finding that? Because I think a lot of our pros here are almost like, oh, maybe I shouldn't do any marketing because no one's buying, but really they should be either at the same level or more.
Yes, you should be more. Okay. But I will tell you this is that do not ever put your marketing money in one place. It should be diversified, like your 401k. Your money should be in lots of places when it comes to marketing. So if something's not working, you have calls on other places. So if your budget is $5,000 a month, which that's around what ours is, and we've increased it. So if our budget is $5,000 a month, I do not put half my budget in one project. I diversify it. I see what's working because you watch the data and you see what's working. And then you're able every year to put money where it's working. So if you put your money in one place, you're bound to fail because they're going to have times where they're not producing the leads for you. And so that means that your business is going to be down in months because you've put all your eggs in one basket. Never do that. So do TV. We're doing TV. We're doing smart mailers. We're doing postcards. And smart mailers, if you don't know that, it's when someone visits your website, 3 days later, they get a postcard from your business. So it's like, even though they didn't buy from you at that time or maybe called or committed to anything, 3 days later, they get a reminder email. So, or a reminder postcard. So that's kind of how so we're doing lots of different things. It is not one thing. We're doing email marketing. We have a telemarketing company that we just signed up with that started with us on Monday to focus on commercial locations for us. So there's a lot of things that we're doing. I would never tell anybody to put their money in one place.
Really good advice.
Let's pin that on. I want to come back. I have a bunch of follow-up questions for you. I want to think about what are you doing that's free, what are you doing that's paid, and how are you measuring some of those things. So Sarah, I'll come back to you in a second.
Okay.
Garrett, why don't you go next? Tell me what your plan is and what are you thinking about for the next 90 days with your business?
Sure. So we just started, my wife and I talked about making a 30-day plan, a 60-day plan, 90-day plan, pretty much all the way up to almost 2 years. That's something we're currently working on. Because, last month, this kind of hit everybody out of nowhere. And we still don't know what the end result's going to be. So we got the EIDL loan. We're probably one of the first. We got it approved, I think, 2 weeks ago. And we actually just found out we're going to get approved for the PPP loan as well. So I think we're one of the very rare ones to get approved for both. So for us, we had enough saved for 6 months of our personal savings anyways to float the company for 6 months. So the EIDL loan was basically, it helped us sleep a little bit better at night because everybody's unsure what's going to go on. Is this going to last 30 days, 90 days? Nobody knows. So we got a pretty good chunk of change, but we also have to be careful because this is a loan. Last thing we want is, if this goes on for a few months, a year, is to be in a huge debt after this is over. Because the economy is, like I said, it's not going to bounce right back up. So we have to be very smart and hold on to the cash, and also, like I said, not burn through the loan. So a couple things we've decided that we're thinking about doing is kind of wait and see on.
Uh-oh, Garrett, I think we froze up. All right, why don't we?
The ideal loan, marketing even more. Oh, thanks. Ramp up marketing even more, because we haven't dialed that back yet. So there's quite a few things, but like I said, we are going to be very careful. This is not a forgivable loan, EIDL loan. So we have to be very careful that, like I said, when it's all said and done, I'm not making payments to the government in my 70s. So it is a favorable loan at 3.75, which is very good over 30 years. Like I said, we don't really want to use it if we don't have to, but it is there just in case. We want to make sure we pay all of our vendors. Our vendors are small businesses as well. So we want to make sure we pay all those people. Another thing is also that when this is all said and done is we have some credit card debt we like to take care of. But like I said, our marketing is still the same. Everything is still the same. Like I said, we just found out we got the PPP as well. So we're really we're really digging into that too, to make sure it is forgivable at the end as well. Because if we use the PPP and it's not, yeah.
Tell me about your marketing message, right? Like Sarah had referred to the fact that she's thinking about the message is different today than what it was pre-COVID. How is your marketing? You said your marketing is staying the same consistently right now. What has the message been? Has it evolved during this time frame?
A little bit. I think HVAC, indoor air quality, we're seeing more emergency calls on the plumbing side. You know, we're in San Diego, same as you guys. The weather is very nice. It is going to get very hot this week. For us, it's going to get hot. So, you know, weather really determines everything. Weather is the marketing. So we really haven't changed too much. You know, San Diego, we can be, you know, 85, which is somewhat warm for us, to 90, 95. We don't have that constant heat. So, you know, after this week, we're going to really see how people respond to the heat coming. We're going to be close to 90 on the beach, which is very rare for us, especially this time of year. So we're really going to see how people respond this week to the weather and being at home. I know a lot of people are worried about funds in their bank account. You know, is their job going to be there when they're done, when it's all over? Or, you know, some people are still working from home, still getting paid. So we're going to see, I'm assuming, people buying air conditioning still, because now they're stuck at home, they're not in the office. So I think this week for us will be a very good kind of a test to see how the summer is going to go for us.
And just a quick question for you, Garrett. The SBA loan, so the EIDL, did you have a previous relationship or previous loan open with SBA, or no? This is your first time going through that?
No, we didn't have a loan. I just kind of been watching everything on the news. I knew this wasn't just going to be a small little blimp on a radar screen and just disappear. So we applied March 17th, right around when California declared a disaster.
And then the PPP, who did you go through for the PPP for everyone that's listening here?
Well, our banker is Wells Fargo, which is still a mess.
Yep.
So we applied through Wells Fargo, and then I started reading all the comments. Nobody's getting anything done with them. And then we applied through Cabbage. I didn't know it was going to work. I heard some bad things about Cabbage. I didn't know. We also applied through PayPal. So we applied to different places, and I didn't know if that was going to hurt us or not. But I was willing to take the risk because nobody knows. So we did apply at 3 different places. Wells Fargo, still nothing. And then we got an email from Cabbage last Friday saying that was approved, and we should be funded by this Wednesday, a couple of days.
Good for you. That's awesome. All right, Garrett, I'm going to pause you for a second and go over to Brandon. Brandon, tell me what's going on with your business and kind of where are you in your process, and then also what does the plan look like in your company right now? What are you thinking about for the next 3 months and how to run the company?
So we, you know, at first we did start sending everybody home. You know, luckily we're able to do that with, you know, virtual phone lines and everything and still work. And so we initially wanted to let everybody know that we're still here and we're still open. And so we started putting out some messages, you know, through Facebook, YouTube, different ways that, you know, we are still here. We're taking actions to protect our customer and protect our technician. And that's been beneficial. Some people are really hesitant to have you come to their home right now, you know, and some people have wanted us to, you know, stay outside and, you know, call them on the phone if we need them to, you know, say, turn their thermostat on or something like that. And so we're working on rolling out some virtual stuff right now. Actually had a gentleman call Friday, and he wanted a quote, but he didn't want anybody to come to his house, right? And so, you know, that's always been difficult to do, but I'm trying to find a way to make that work. And I've actually talked to another pro that did this a couple weeks ago up in Joliet, and that's, so I've gotten some information from him. And so, you know, we really are just trying to use what we have as far as all the different avenues that we communicate with people, whether it be email. You know, we still are using our Google stuff, and we want to, you know, we're letting people know, hey, we have these different products that we can use in your home for cleaning, or we can install in your home, such as UV lights and stuff like that. And so, that's kind of our message that we're putting out to people, is that we're still here. We're taking precautions to make you safe. We have, you know, extra financing options right now, like zero interest, zero payments for 12 months, that type of thing. That's been pretty popular. And because people don't know, you know, how long it'll be, you know, that the money will be tight. And so we've started rolling out, you know, free service call with repair. I'm actually working on rolling out a program this week. I want to be able to just give away air filters, and we'll either install them or just drop them off at their house. If they don't want us to come in, just leave them next to the door, you know, on the stoop or something. And, you know, we'll just give them a filter. And so we're working on an ad where it's basically, it shows a dirty filter and it says, you know, if you're wearing a mask to go outside, but your filter looks like this, you should probably let us bring you a filter. And so that's kind of our message going out. And we really, we're still growing right now. Like you guys mentioned, I have a virtual interview tomorrow. I'm hoping to add another technician, and really two, if I could. And we saw a small blip there maybe for a week where people were pretty scared and the phones shut down. But the weather here is, it's kind of odd. It'll be, you know, 70, 80, and then back down to 30 for a while. And so we're still working on furnaces and air conditioners, both. And so we're rolling out a new sales model already. You know, it was already going to happen. And so we were already restructuring all of our overhead to try to be lean. We have very little debt, like almost nothing really. And so we're trying to restructure all of this already and roll out a new sales plan. You know, not only for the sales guys, but just the process for our technicians. And I want to be able to have it, you know, so that it's the process we take with each customer is so similar, we can measure it, you know, because if we don't know what we're doing out in the field, how can I measure it to correct anything? And so, and I've used some mentors for that to help, you know, gain some ideas. I've gotten a ton of ideas from you guys, and I'll tell you what, at first, I really wasn't that worried about it. And then whenever I started getting emails that, you know, the governor was, you know, basically closing the state down, I was like, man, this might be an issue, you know? And so for a couple of days there, just like you had mentioned, you know, I was kind of stuck in my head. And then I was like, you know, we just got to keep going, really. There's people are still gonna need our services. You know, we're about to start an install at a blood bank here in town. And I thought it was odd when they called us at first, but they're open additional hours right now to be able to make sure they can provide for their customers. And it's you know, extremely important for them that they can keep everybody who's doing the donations comfortable. And so they want us in there right away to do that. You know, we work at some factories are still open, so we've been servicing those guys. We've got some senior care facilities that we're going into still. And you know, what surprised me is the places that I thought wouldn't want us in there, or that would be really cautious, aren't as cautious. You know, they almost want it done sooner in a way. You know, it's because everybody's in their building, you know, everybody is in their home, and they
have some urgency on their side.
Yeah, you know, you used to be able to, during the day, you'd go to work and be cool in your office, and then at home, well, my AC's broke, but I got to wait a little while, but I'll just work overtime and be cool at work or something, you know. But everybody's there, you know, and I've seen it even with the appliance guys, and so the heat's still coming, and so I originally wanted to have all of our new sales stuff rolled out May 1st, and I've pushed that back just a little bit so that we could take some time to kind of address our customers, and put together a plan to let people know that we're still here now, and that I want to offer some additional things, you know.
So what I hear you saying, Brandon, so you looked at your messaging and you worked on some added value for your customers, right? A way to get back in front of them with some value for them, even not salesy, but just to get some value in front of them with the filter plan, right? And I hear you're doing sales training with a new sales program for your team, so you're set up for success in this current environment going forward. Are those kind of the three big highlights there?
Yeah, it is. It definitely is. We, as bad as it may sound, a lot of people businesses are struggling, and it's a lot from what you said, Brooks. People are stuck because they're in fear there, and I think if the opportunity is what I'm calling it is used correctly, in the end, it could work out better for us. We could be stronger than we would have been, and that's what my goal is.
Yeah, we think that's going to happen with most of the companies, that we see, and just in general, the ones that are moving forward, the ones that are continuing to build during this time are actually going to come out significantly stronger than the ones that decided to kind of close shop. And the other thing that I'm hearing that's consistent across the three of you is that none of you guys are putting all of your eggs in one basket, whether it's like the marketing front, whether it's the services that you're offering, or even the customer type. I hear a lot of pros that are like, well, we don't normally do this for this type of customer. We don't even know where this came from, and like now we're servicing this new set of clientele. And I hear a lot of people, obviously, there are a lot of essential businesses that are still open today that are, because they're operating, putting even more wear and tear than they would even normally maybe put. Same with homeowners too. So the demand doesn't just disappear. It's just getting pent up. And if you guys are all there to have that dry powder to go advertise, to keep operating, you're going to be the beneficiaries of that.
Yeah. Look, if you're out there thinking about how am I taking care of the customer I have right now, and I'm marketing to raise awareness of the future customer too. They may not be ready to buy, but as Roland said, like their demand is getting backed up. They may have a lot fewer options in town. Their go-to person may be stuck, may be frozen, and sadly might go out of business. Right? You get a shot at that opportunity, right? And build that new customer in. Then you can bring him in, give him a 5-star experience, which you get a chance to do so. Get them on a maintenance agreement, and look, you just found one new customer that you have a lifetime relationship with. I think that's the opportunity. Like everyone we see that's doing well. They built a plan, they're moving forward. They're not, to your point, just one idea. They have lots of ideas in play. And they're thinking every day, how do I get better? How do I borrow an idea from Sarah? How do I get one from Garrett so I can move my business forward consistently each and every day? Maybe 2 steps forward, 1 step back, but still you're executing along a bunch of different fronts. And the other thing I want to quickly, Sarah, I want to ask you, you talked a little bit about how you measure things. I know that was a big theme in the meetup last week about if you're going to market, you got to measure it, right? How do you think about doing that in your business?
Well, we always ask a client when they called in where they heard about us from, and we tag it on the Housecall Pro job. So we can actually run reports based on the tag. So at the end of the year, we have, or at the end of every month, we have a report that our staff does. So we have a field manager, he does a certain portion of the report, I do a certain portion of the report, and our VA does a certain portion of the report. So we can see our monthly snapshot, where we got our leads, how much revenue we brought in, how much we spent this month, like everything that we need to know to make decisions as a business. So we get that. We're able to use Housecall for all that. We just do tags. So if it's Yelp, we put Yelp. If it's Google, we put Google. If it's smart mailers, we put TV commercial. So we're able to see on our desktop, and I don't know if everybody has the same program we have with Housecall, but we're able to see like this rainbow kind of thing that looks on our desktop where we can see where all of our leads come from.
So you're able to then say, hey, look, this thing at, next door is working for me. I can go put more money after that because it's performing, but I'm not getting much help from my Google paid search, right? Is that how you're thinking about it? So whatever's working, you put more money after, or how do you manage your budget against those learnings?
I feel like just because something's not working well today doesn't mean that it doesn't next month. So you really have to measure things. I feel like there's power in planting seeds. So like we did radio advertising for 2 years, and it took us a year to see a return on that. But now we've moved into TV, and people have heard us on radio. Now they see us on TV, so there's power in planting seeds. You have to understand that there's branding, and then there's marketing that brings you leads in today. What kind of marketing are you going to do? Are you going to brand your business, which brings you leads 10 years from now? Or are you going to focus just on the quick leads for today? And so we do a combination of both.
Yep. That mixed multimedia, that mixed multimedia kind of channel approach that you're using is absolutely the right one. It goes back to, you know, putting all your eggs in one basket. It's really easy to just go out there and pay Google PPC or pay Home Advisor for a boatload of leads. But what happens if that dries up? Or what happens if you don't have the cash to go spend and go do that? You know, at Housecall, we invest a ton in our brand. It's one of the reasons why we do the show like this and all these other things that we give back. You know, it doesn't provide any leads per se and what you would guess. But it does help from the brand. So that way, you know, even through the end, you know, a lot of people right now, now is a good time to actually invest in brand, specifically because impressions are really low and there's a lot of eyeballs and it's super cheap. So that is a golden nugget for those of you that are thinking about how do I spend some money right now? Weave those things together. Don't just do one or don't just do the other.
And remember, branding doesn't give you overnight results. So if you're branding and being like, oh, I haven't gotten any calls this month off my radio, you have to wait for that because it makes your business like a picture. Everybody remembers it. They see your girls in pink aprons and they think, oh, that's Goldman Cleaning over there. You know, so branding is completely different than, oh, my phone's ringing tomorrow. It's not the same thing.
So I want to ask you, for both of you, because you both had thought, Roland and Sarah, if I'm a business that, like, you guys are all doing well, all three of you guys are doing really well, it sounds like, in this challenging environment. Not everyone's doing as well as you are right now, yet they may get some money in from the government here, from the IDL, from the PPP program, but they're going from a cold start, right? They're not doing well in trying to figure out how to accelerate the business. They're trying to how to get the business off its feet, off its heels and moving forward. Do you think that brand marketing is the right thing to do if you're in that situation, or you should be looking at more customer acquisition marketing, or should you look at more of your free options like email and maybe a little postcard, or more like calling all my customers? How do you guys think about that?
Well, first of all, if it was me, because I started my business with $2,000. So I had no money for marketing in the early days. If it was me, I would do get the clients in first. Before I would do that, I would separate my funds and know how much is allocated for each thing. So if you're payroll, what are you spending percentage-wise on payroll? What are you spending percentage-wise on overhead? What are you spending on marketing? What are you able to spend on marketing? And that's going to determine what exactly you're going to be able to do. Yeah.
So Sarah, when you went back to those early days, what was the first kind of marketing you did? I'm sure it was probably low cost, but what exact tactics did you use? Was it email marketing? Was it calling customers? Was it cold calling? Where did you get the biggest bang for your buck when you were coming from a cold start back then?
And learn from my mistake. I did newspaper. Don't do newspaper. Like it's
okay, that's a good example for somebody.
If you're going to get clients that want to pay a premium price, and we're expensive, we're $50 an hour. That's how we bid, and so we're the most expensive company in town. Everybody else is behind us, you know, when it comes to pricing, and that's okay. But we feel like we want to charge a premium for our business. So I'm going to go where I'm going to get a premium price. Newspaper is not it. Okay.
Nope. Right. That's a good example. Yeah.
If you want to be the cheapest in town, go where your cheaper clients will be. If you want to be a premium service, you go where those clients are going to be.
Yeah. So what worked for you in those early days? Do you remember what it was? I mean, how'd you go find those first customers? Was it a zip code? Was it knocking doors, handing out flyers? Like, what was do you remember the tactic, the marketing tactic you used? You're a marketer, clearly.
I sat in bed and I would order cheap postcards and I would write their names on it. I would do every night, just write postcards out by name. And it was terrible. I would do newspaper. We did do a website, but it was like one of those bought ones. It wasn't anything professional. So, that gives you a ground to stand on. And then you can say, okay, this is what I'm paying myself. This is what I have for marketing. Because if you're not, this is one thing that your business, and learn this very, very soon, early in business, is that marketing is what drives your business. Everything else is expected of you. Good customer service is expected of you. A good product line is expected of you. Good quality work is expected of you. That is what keeps the clients paying you. What keeps the clients coming in doors is your marketing.
Yep.
That's smart. Yeah.
Garrett, so you're up in Oceanside in San Diego, and you cover a lot of kind of North County. There are some good high-end clients up in where you're at. What are you doing just in this regards? Because I feel like, especially in a time like this, everyone's kind of racing to the bottom because they're just trying to scramble to just get whatever business they can. How are you maintaining that kind of that image. Obviously, you've got amazing reviews online. I don't know, like 250, 200, I think maybe 300 5-star reviews on Google. So you built that engine, but like, what else are you doing to kind of maintain that? Because you're running really profitable jobs.
Yeah, so online reviews is it is our main source of leads. We have Yelp. Yelp doesn't work everywhere, but it does work in Southern California and some other places around the country. I know Yelp has a very mixed review with home pros, but in Southern California, it does work. We did ramp up just this month recently spending in Yelp. And now Yelp is going to have a lot less traffic, so we're hoping to take advantage of that by upping our budget a little bit. But Google local services is really good. Obviously, we have seen a drawback in calls because people are just uncertain. This is also, for us, our slow time of year. Like I said, San Diego, it's very expensive here. We pay for the weather. We have very beautiful weather. This is typically our slower time. So there are a couple ways to look at it. If this would have happened in the middle of July or starting in July, August, this would be devastating to a lot of HVAC companies. Thankfully, this has started. Hopefully, it gives us enough time to figure things out by the time the heat comes. And for us, that's between June and July. So online reviews is by far our number one. It's also a little bit cheaper that way. It's not expensive. We're not spending a lot on radio, TV, which is something we haven't done. We would like to, but we have not so far.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Have Garrett or Brandon, have either of you called your customers during these last 45 days just to reach out and connect with them? And I say that because I heard that, I think it was also the Midwest meetup, or it might have been the HVAC meetup, where some of our the customers say, hey, I got a call list. I'm gonna reach out to every customer that I worked with in the last 1 year or a year and a half, 2 years, recent customers that were active with you, but that you can reach out to and say, hey, Garrett, I'm just checking in with you, right? It's an empathetic, caring call that you make, which say, Garrett, I just want to check in, see how you guys are doing. Yeah, we're open for business. Is there anything you need? Is there something I could do for you in this crazy time? And just go down a list and call those people. Have either of you guys or any of the three of you all done any of that? Because I know that I've heard that from other pros that are going to just sort of systematically saying, it's free, I got time, I'm going to call every one of my customers, at least just connect with them, let them know I'm here to help.
We didn't call. We did send a mass email about 4 weeks ago, to about 6,000 customers, just letting them know what we're doing differently to protect them. So everybody's scared.
Right.
So we're trying to calm that down a little bit, let them know, obviously the sanitizer, gloves, no contact approach. And we did get quite a few responses to that, positive responses. So that's one way we did it. Like I said, we emailed about 6,000 people in one day. And then we did talk about air quality, but we kept it very mild. That was definitely not the main point of the email. It's basically how we are looking out for their best interest and how obviously this is a concern for everybody, how we're scared too, they're scared, and basically what we're doing to help, calm their fears as well as ours.
That's a lot like what Sarah was saying, that she evolved the message, right, to fit in these crazy circumstances that are very different than they were at the beginning of the year. So you changed your message a little bit, and you went through the email route. How about you, Brandon? Anything on the email or the phone call or the sales call front?
So I actually, I think I heard that, maybe it was from you, Brooks, and last week in another meeting, but so we have emailed, shot an email out to our customer. And, I was driving by a church yesterday and I was like, you know what? I want to contact nonprofits and let them know that we'll come out and do free coil cleaning for them or something, just to see if we can help them, because they're probably pouring out all kinds of stuff, trying to help other people right now, And then it clicked, I was like, I have a list of however many customers, and I said I could call them, and then and so for the free filter, that's one of the things I want to do is physically call people and see if we can, how they're doing. Can we bring you a free filter? Would that help you? And probably not only our customers, but we were looking. It's been a little while ago, but looking at buying, information for local people, phone number, address, and try to reach out to them that way as well. And just like you said, just see how they're doing. I had a church call me about 2 weeks ago in a town that I don't even live in anymore. But they just wanted to see how I was doing and if they could do something for me, if they could bring me groceries, if they could bring me prescription or whatever it was. And so I was so blown away that they took the time to do that, you know. And then after I heard you say it, I was like, man, that's an excellent way to get my free filters out there, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, look, they have a customer base too. It's their flock, right? I mean, at church, they have people they got to take care of, and you're one of their flock, and they're just checking in on you to say, hey, how you doing, Brandon? How's your family doing? How's your community? Can we help you in some way? I love that. That's a great example of it. If you do the same thing, you'll find a lot of people that respond to them, remember, like it'll be, you know, etched in their mind. And they may not need that service today, but they'll remember that call and that care that you showed for them. And 3 months from now, 6 months from now, 9 months from now, they'll call you when they have business, or they're going to talk about you when they're from their friends at church. They're going to talk about you in their neighborhood when they're talking across the fence to a neighbor and still 6 feet away. Like, you never know that level of care, what the return is going to be for you today, tomorrow, and down the road.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Roland,
I would say, Brooks, I would just say to add on. Good.
Yeah, good.
I would just say the easiest thing to do for any business here is, like, whether you're home cleaning and you've got extra rolls of toilet paper, or maybe you have extra soap, or whatever it is, if you've got people that are being essentially subsidized by the PPP, and if you don't have a lot of jobs, the best thing that you can do is just go deliver these goods with just a handwritten little note that says, hey, we're thinking of you, Brooks, here's a piece of soap. Even if it's a piece of soap, you're like, why would I ever get a piece of soap? Just something. You know, those air filters are so cheap. Give away one free air filter. Who cares? Just have your people drive around and just hand those out, because you're, like, I think Sarah said it, you're planting these seeds, and that's definitely something you all should be thinking about and doing, because it costs you next to nothing.
It's a great idea for us to wrap it up on. Yeah, totally. So I think, you know, Sarah, I love that message. I give, you know, one of the takeaways I'll certainly bring from this call today is, you know, you're sowing your future success right now. You're planting seeds out there on, you know, ground that you've cultivated by building a reputation of care, of investment in your customers in the past. But now you're planting those seeds to get those customers when they're ready to do business with you again, or to refer you to somebody else. I think that's a wonderful idea. And I do love the fact that you guys have thought about your message as well and really shaped that in your business, and that you're all blessed enough to be able to keep growing these companies right now in one of the most extraordinary times. I'm sure that the ideas you share with the community today is going to give somebody a spark, that light bulb, that somebody will go out and do one of these things tomorrow that they weren't thinking about today. So we really appreciate you all participating in this panel this week, and I'm sure we'll have a chance to ask you back some point in the future. Alexa, back over to you. Oh, yeah, Alexa, back over to you.
Thanks, Brooks. So actually, kind of ending on that same note, Mel was able to answer a lot of your questions, most regarding, like, can I still apply for the PPP? What about sole proprietorship? So Mel actually answered those, and you can see them in the Q&A under answered. But on Brooks's last point, for our 3 guests, and also for Brooks and Roland, you too, since we're putting out the 90-day playbook, what is the one thing that the pros watching right now should go and do today or tomorrow? And we can let's start with Garrett, Brandon, and then Sarah, because that's how they're out on my screen. And then Brooks and Roland can wrap us up.
I would say what we just started is, like I said, there are so many unknowns. So we are doing a 30-day plan. It sounds like a lot, but we need to have a plan in case this does not turn around quickly. And for us, like I said, summer is the majority of our revenue. So we have to have a plan. If things start slowing down, what are we going to do? Do we need to cut back more? So we are doing, like I said, almost a 1 month, almost 24-month plan, just so we can be prepared when A happens, we can go to B. That's what we're doing right now.
So for us, you know, I think everybody's it would be just slightly different depending on where you are. But just like he talked about a plan, you know, first you need to put something on paper, I think, and make it real, and make it real with your team. Spend some time in training with your team and let them know, you know, this is where you want to go. And I really like to know what my team thinks, because they may have a great idea, you know, and so get some feedback from that and see what they think, see what some of their concerns are, you know, as well. And try to get something, you know, real on paper for them to follow. And you got to find a way to connect with your community out there. Sarah made a great point, you know, about spreading money around and advertising if you can. If you can't, find a free way to do it. You know, try to use Facebook, just posting, do some videos, show them, I've done some on how to change your filter safely without blowing dust all over, when to know how to change it, how to clean your own coil this year if you need to save some money. And the way she said about spreading that around, I've been told, think of yourself as a marketing company that just happens to do HVAC work, not a HVAC company that's trying to market.
I like that quote. That's a good one.
Thanks.
All right, Sarah.
Oh, okay, sorry.
Do one thing.
So we for the next 90 days, we're just focusing on marketing. And then on the internal side, we're focused on staffing, training, and then developing. We're also streamlining our schedule, getting rid of some of the legacy clients that are underpriced. So there's lots of things that we're doing internally. And then we have a separate plan for our field and then our marketing and sales. So we're doing lots of things planning wise. And we have 3 different plans for each sector. And so it all looks a little different. And I think that everybody should do that because as you grow, and I hope all of us are growing from this, is that we need to also grow internally. You got to make sure everything's streamlined so you're not growing so fast that you fail. So it's kind of what we're doing, is just planning and getting ahead of it and making sure that we're ready when we reopen. And also, Sarah, I saw too, she was answering a lot of you in the chat. So I'm going to copy and save those really thoughtful answers you gave to our viewers in the chat. People were asking Sarah questions, so thank you for jumping in there really quick. And then Brooks, Roland, on the 90-day plan, what are your final thoughts and your challenge to our pros for this evening?
I would say my challenge to each of you is just, you've got an existing base of customers. It's the cheapest, most cost-effective thing. It doesn't cost you a single thing. Just pick up the phone, call each one, and use the script that Brooks just gave you, which is like, hey, Brooks, I'm just giving you a quick call. Just want to let you know we're still open. Is there anything I can do for you in the meantime? I hope everything's okay. That's it. And just see where the conversation takes you. You'll go through your customer list in a couple days worth of time. And if you're not able to connect, make sure you just leave a voicemail. And it's just a simple script again. Hey, Brooks, I was just calling. I'm sorry I missed you here. I'm just giving all my customers a call. Thank you so much for the business that we did 6 months ago or a year ago. Just so you know, we're still open. If there's anything you ever need or a delivery you want us to run, we're happy to help. And that's it. And even if you do that, you've planted the seed. That's it. That is the most valuable thing that you can be doing right now for zero cost. So if you got employees just sitting around, just divvy up your customer list, split it in Excel, and have them get on the phones.
I love that idea. So I'm gonna go Garrett's route on this deal, right? I sat down and wrote out the 90-day playbook that is a framework, and our team will go flesh it out and make it something extraordinary by the week, and we'll ship it out to you all. But it took me an hour, just 1 hour to write down 3 different things that you could really control in your business and get to work. And I'll tell you, just the exercise of writing out a plan, not just having ideas in your head or dreaming about it, the discipline to sit down and write out that plan. And yeah, it might be a little bit harder for you as you're trying to shape those thoughts, but write it down. And once you're in control of that destiny, then you go start taking action. And then once you got it written down, the next day, start doing one of those things and start moving your way through it. It is that straightforward. Take control of what you can take control, and you're gonna feel a lot better, you're gonna feel a lot stronger, and your business will invariably start doing better. So hopefully that's helpful for you all. You guys were phenomenal guests. Alexa, thanks for letting me on the show again.
All right. And maybe Brooks will even have you on tomorrow. But before I let you guys, so before I let you guys give our viewers a sneak peek of what they can expect tomorrow, I want to let everyone know in the chat, I've posted 3 things in there. The one closest to the bottom is where you can get the 90-day playbook. So you probably saw Roland do a little bit of a screen share right there. It was like a little,
teaser.
A little teaser, as he likes to do. A little teaser as he likes to do. So we're working on creating this 90-day playbook for you. It should be ready by the end of the week. So if you click on that link and just submit your email, it will be emailed to you by the end of the week. The other things I've posted in there are housecallpro.com/coronavirus. You get access to all of the coronavirus resources we've come out with over the past 5 weeks. And it is just like filled to the brim in there of great stuff. And the last one in there, if you scroll a little farther up, is the Facebook group. If you're not in this group, we have well surpassed 2,600 members. It is absolutely the best place for you to get support during this time with people who are in the same position as you. And we post all of the announcements for the evening updates in there as well. So Brooks, why don't you let our pros know what tomorrow's topic is and who our special guest is?
So we're really lucky that we have built this public service, and it's something, again, I think the legacy of our company, we're to be as proud of this as anything we've been able to accomplish. It's just being able to help you all get information and start moving your businesses forward. Well, we're lucky enough, we reached out to a couple of people, and sure enough, they responded and said, hey, I'd love to be a part of that public service message. I'll join the show. I'll give you half an hour of my time. That's the least I can do to honor what all the work that small businesses are doing to get the hustle going and get their businesses thriving. So we're lucky to have Mark Cuban come tomorrow night. He'll give us a half an hour at a time, and we'll talk about leadership. We're going to talk about what you can do in the small business world and how you can create success for your business today and tomorrow. So really fortunate. And the next week, we have another guest coming on board. It's just amazing that these people responded to us and just honoring all of you and your hard work.
It's going to be so much fun. And we're going to ask him the same question we asked you guys. So he doesn't get treated any different. We're going to ask him, what's the one thing that everyone should be doing today to help your business? So we're going to ask him that same question. So if you're curious, you better watch tomorrow because he's going to give us that answer.
Yep. Yeah. And also our Ask of You is in the Facebook group. Please share out the link to register for this live webinar. Of course, tomorrow we have an awesome big time guest, but every single night of the week, Monday through Thursday, not Friday, I almost made a mistake there. We aim to bring you just the best guests and the best pieces of information and strategy. So please get this out to your friends that are in the home service space who are even just small business owners. They don't have to be in the home service space. Like, this is just a group for everyone to get together and support each other during this time. So our ask of you is that you share that out to your friends. Roland posted it, I believe, in the Housecall Pros group. And if we haven't posted it yet, we will post it in the coronavirus group. Share it out, be loud and proud. You can take the image, screenshot it, share it. But we will see you back here tomorrow night at 5 p.m. Pacific time. Thank you for joining us. Thank you, Garrett, Brandon, and Sarah, for spending your Monday evening with us. We really appreciate you sharing your knowledge with all of our viewers. So we will talk to you guys tomorrow at 5.
Have a great night and be safe, everybody. Take care.